Breaking news has just come in, and Kawhi Leonard and the Los Angeles Clippers have decided that he will, in fact, not be playing in this upcoming Olympics, and he will have to focus now on this upcoming season. We're going to be talking about what this means for Kawhi Leonard. What does this mean for the Los Angeles Clippers? This is another episode of Real Talk Sports with Rico. And guys, let's go ahead and jump into the hot topic of the day, talking about Kawhi Leonard. We just talked about him yesterday and him not being surprised about Paul George moving on to the 76ers. I think this is a bit telling to me about what is going on with Kawhi Leonard and really how injured Kawhi Leonard might be. If you're taking a look, this article can be found on ESPN.com. But jumping right into it, guys, he missed 12 of the Clippers' final 14 games this past season with the right knee inflammation. That's really what's been going on here with Kawhi. Really the big quote was that he had been ramping up for the Olympics over the last several weeks. But it says, however, with respects to the U.S. basketball team, the Clippers determined that it's in his best interest to spend the remainder of the summer preparing for the upcoming season rather than participating in the Olympic Games, guys. And so, look, I think that this is kind of one of those things where I think that the Clippers, in my opinion, are kind of drawing the line in the sand. They've already made the decision to go on with him versus Paul George, and listening to what Kawhi said, it seems like this is something that perhaps the Clippers had been locked on before last year's season. And I think it was very disappointing for the Clippers to have such a great record, be right there, looking like they were going to be the prime team coming out of the Western Conference, only to have another injury-riddled season happen for the Clippers, and then also too for Paul George not to play up to the level that he had been showing really throughout the season. So I think that, look, this lets you know that the Clippers really want Kawhi Leonard to get locked in. They're moving on to that new arena. I just talked about that. And, it's put up or shut up time, I think, for Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. Even though he has a no trade clause, guys, I think that, the Clippers are going to have to try to figure out what they are going to do with this franchise. It does talk about in this article, too, that the same situation was probably put around Andrew Wiggins as well. They say it's a mutual decision, and I can just tell you that both of those players had been dealing with some injuries and some personal things as well. And so, with Leonard, he's starting a 3-year, $150 million deal for the Clippers. He hasn't been able to compete in the past two postseasons due to the right knee injuries. Obviously, he is a two-time NBA champion, six-time All-NBA player, but he's missed 256 regular season games over the past 7 years, guys. And so that is a lot of games. And I just think, like I said before, and yesterday really dating back, I just think that the Clippers are in a situation where they're like the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. They have these electric seasons. They get to the postseason and they absolutely fall apart. And I don't have very much faith in the Clippers moving forward, especially when we see news like this. And I think that you can also see in this article that Kawhi is, in fact, saying that the knee is neutral right now. So it's not even completely where it needs to be at. And so that is probably pretty concerning, I think, if you're a Clippers fan, and a bit concerning, I think, if you're a Kawhi Leonard fan. Okay, because I'm wondering what now will Kawhi do now that Paul George is not there. Okay, and there's reports that if you've been looking, that Russell Westbrook is perhaps getting ready to leave town as well. There's Miami that could be in the running to get Russell Westbrook. I think the better situation for him is going to be the Denver Nuggets. I'm not sure how I feel about him necessarily starting, because between him and Jamal Murray, I'm not sure how that dynamic works, because with Jamal Murray and the Joker, I think that you're looking at probably having maybe one of the best pick games that I've seen in quite some time. I'm dating back to like John Stockton and Karl Malone with the way that these guys are able to work that pick and roll. And so I think that when you take the ball out of Murray's hand, right, then you're going to probably take away from a little bit of that. And so I would say that that dynamic could be thrown off a bit. But there are shots and there's scoring opportunities to be had, especially now that they do not have Cladwell Pope on this roster. And so I like Russ to really come off the bench and I think spearhead that bench attack for Denver if Denver does make this deal, especially since they did get rid of Reggie Jackson. I think that you're getting a guy that can absolutely be a triple double threat. I think that Coach Malone would be just in letting Russ run that second unit and really giving him a lot of the minutes, maybe perhaps in the closing moments of the game he's out there. I just hope that Denver doesn't put him into a standstill shooter, which I don't think they're going to do. I think that they're probably realistically looking at a couple more bench performers to kind of come over to go along with Russ. It'd be nice if they could get a bit more athletic there. And then you could see Russ probably throwing a lot more lobs, getting people downhill and things like that. But, you know, shifting focuses back to the Clippers, I just think that now if you're hearing this news about Kawhi, you're really not sold, I believe, on James Harden, who did get the two for $70 million contract. But James Harden is not the same player that he was when he was an MVP for the Rockets. And I think that you also seen that in his time and tenure with the Sixers as well. And I think much like Paul George, there's questions about James Harden as a closer. And so the ultimate closer on this team is Kawhi. And then now you're saying you're not sure if you can depend on him being healthy. Very concerning, I think, for the Los Angeles Clippers moving forward. But again, breaking news that Kawhi is not going to be playing into the Olympics. It looks like there is a mutual agreement between the Clippers and Kawhi that suggests that he is going to focus now on the season. And I would say if you're a Clippers fan, I mean, it's early enough. You're not in training camp, but you are concerned. You're concerned that this guy who had been out towards the end of the year, he's not necessarily ready to ramp up and play some full-on basketball, or at least the club doesn't trust him enough in those competitions. I'm a bit concerned, all right, because Kawhi Leonard's only getting a bit older, and the way he kind of plays, he's pretty much all over the place. I mean, in his control, but he is a guy that he goes in, he hits you with a lot of things in the post. He is a guy that can still work off his handle as well. And he's pretty all over the place defensively. I mean, he's a hound out there. And so that is a lot to put on that right knee moving forward as he gets older, guys. So anyhow, definitely appreciate you guys who are out there listening to the show. Appreciate the sponsors out there who put sponsorship on the show. And again, appreciate the folks out there that help us drive stories to the show. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the NBA Summer League moving forward. Promising I'm going to give you guys some more shows. I cannot wait. This is Real Talk Sports. And even though we were having a little bit of technical difficulties, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace, 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 peace.